Hey everyone, welcome to my very first live writing review. If you've been following me for a while, then you already know that I've been talking about starting these critiques. Basically, the reason for it is to help aspiring authors to elevate their writing just by giving some tips based off of me reading it live and my first impression. So tonight I'm finally making it happen after wanting to do this for a while. So I want to thank everybody who has decided to check in. Each time I do this, I'll be reviewing a different submission that was sent to me from an author with their permission for me to read it. Well, read a little bit of it on live and to just give my advice on how to enrich the scene. Today, I'll be speaking specifically about the first chapter, which is incredibly important if you are writing any book really, but definitely when you're writing romance novels, you want to make sure that you're grabbing the reader right from the beginning. So I'll be reading something that was sent in to me and we'll see what happens with it. But I do want to say that while I'm doing this live, if you want to drop a comment or a question down below in the comment section, I'll be responding to those. So feel free to leave a message. If you look at this later and you think of something that you would like to ask and didn't get a chance, send me an email at portia@portiasterling.com. And also, if you would like to send me a submission to read on live and to give you a critique of your writing, you can also send it to my email, portia@portiasterling.com. And there it is right there. So there you go. Save it. Send me anything that you would like for me to follow up on. And without further ado, let's get into the writing that I'll be reviewing today. Okay. All right. So this is my first time looking at it. So give me a moment, like if I have to pause to kind of adjust to what I'm reading and to kind of give advice. I want to make sure that I'm appropriately responding to what I'm reading to give good critique. So let's see, it starts with chapter 1. Like I said, we're reviewing the first chapter. And it starts, I should have known better. Tasha gripped the steering wheel so tight her nails dug into the cheap leather. The streetlights above the gas station flickered like they were debating whether to work or not, casting long, shaky shadows across the pavement. Her heart pounded in her chest, loud enough to hear, loud enough to remind her she had no business being here. Girl, you just gonna sit in the car all night? Keisha's voice snapped her back to reality. He gonna think you scared. Tasha swallowed hard. She was scared, but she wasn't about to let Keisha or anybody else see it. Ain't nobody scared, she lied, pushing open the door and stepping out like she had all the confidence in the world. The moment her feet hit the pavement, she felt the eyes. They were watching her, waiting. They were watching her, waiting. Okay. She adjusted her mini dress, suddenly wishing she'd worn something less tight, less revealing. But it was too late now. The air smelled like gasoline and cheap cigars. A group of dudes posted up near the gas station entrance, passing a bottle back and forth, their laughter carrying through the night. Among them was the reason she was here, Dre. Her stomach twisted the way it always did when she saw him. He looked like trouble because he was trouble, but trouble had always been Tasha's weakness. Oh, so now you showing up? Dre's voice was smooth, but there was something underneath it, something sharp. I said I was coming, didn't I? Tasha shot back, trying to match his energy. She could hear Keisha sucking her teeth behind her, always the one to remind her when she was doing something dumb. But Keisha didn't understand. Nobody did. Dre was leaning against his charger, arms crossed, watching her with those dark, unreadable eyes. A smirk curled at the corner of his lips like he already knew how this was gonna go. He had a way of making her feel like she was the one chasing him, even though they both knew it was the other way around. Okay. You ain't answer my calls, he said, stepping closer. I was busy. Busy doing what? Entertaining some lame? Tasha rolled her eyes. Not everything I do is about you, Dre. He laughed, low and knowing. That's cute, but we both know that's a lie. Behind him, his boys snickered, hyping him up like always. One of them, a dude named Rico, shook his head. Man, she always playing. You know she ain't going nowhere. Tasha's jaw clenched. This is what she hated most, the way Dre made her feel small, like she didn't have a choice in how this went, like she belonged to him whether she wanted to or not. Maybe I ain't got time for this, she said, turning back toward her car. She barely made it 2 steps before Dre grabbed her wrist. Not hard, not enough to hurt, but enough to stop her. So that's it? You just gonna walk off? His voice was still smooth, but the threat was there now, lurking beneath the surface. Tasha hesitated. She should yank her arm away, get in the car, and drive off like she had some sense. But she didn't, because no matter how much she hated to admit it, Dre felt like home, and home was a hard habit to break. Okay. All right, so the first thing I noticed, I do like when chapters start, like, they like drop you right in the middle of whatever is about, like whatever is happening. Like, I love that. I love when like a chapter starts and it's already at the height of like some kind of dramatic something, and it's just like bloop, you're like dropped into the scene. So I like that it started with that, her thinking like I should have known better. And so you're just like, what did she, like what should she have known? And then she's like gripping the steering wheel and, you know, all of that. Like, obviously she's going somewhere she shouldn't be. It doesn't really say what that is. But yeah, like, I really like that part of it. Let's see. I do want to like go through really quickly, and because there were some things I noticed. I know I normally love like when there's a strong opening that grabs my attention, so that was there. I like when there's a main character I can connect with. I feel like with Tasha, I did connect with the fact that she was anxious about something, and there was something going on between her and Dre. So the drama and the tension was definitely there from the very first paragraph. Like, you're right, like I said, you're dropped into the action of something's going on. I like the dialogue. I personally, like when I'm reading, I really like smart dialogue. And like what I mean by that is like dialogue that is there for a reason. Like an author that can like put dialogue in the book and make it seem natural, but nothing is wasted. Like the characters aren't just aimlessly speaking. The dialogue is used to like make the scene, like to progress the scene. And so I saw that. I liked the back and forth between Tasha and Dre. It created tension. Like I felt the tension, and I felt the need to want to know where it was going. Like I felt the need to want to know where it was going. I think so. Yeah. So those were all the good points. If I'm getting into like what could be stronger with it, I think I just needed to know more. And that is like a hard thing to do when you're doing like a first chapter. Like you have to kind of find a balance between not saying too much, but saying enough to like you want to try to instantly create a way where people are connected to the character in an emotional way and connected to the situation in an emotional, like emotionally connected to it without like telling them everything, because you want them to like, you know, buy your book to or like, find out more. Like you want them to not be able to guess where the story is going. So it's kind of strange to have to find that balance. But there are some tricks that I think that I've used and that I've seen authors that I love use that help with that. So I can give some suggestions based off of that. One thing that I did see, I felt like there should have been more character development right in the beginning when it came to Tasha, because that kind of connects people emotionally with the character. Like if you know something about her, even if like you're reading the book and you'll find out everything about her, like her personality or what she likes or what kind of person she is, you can kind of put something in the beginning to tell people a little bit about her so they get a sense of like what kind of person she is and whether or not they might like her based off of whatever that is. So yeah, like sometimes I'll throw something in so you know, like, okay, so I'm thinking about the last book I just wrote. In the beginning, I put, so the last book I put out was called The Billionaire Next Door. And in the beginning, what I did with the main character, her name was Cherish, is I put you right in a situation where you found out that she had, she had two other sisters. I gave information about like which sister she was in the, like you had the responsible one, you had the reckless one, and then you had her. And I gave enough information for you to kind of get her personality, that she was kind of the one that told it like it was and did everything how she wanted to do it. Like she didn't go buy the book, she wrote the book for herself. So like you get that right from the beginning, a little bit of her personality, and you see her doing something that is not the most responsible, but you kind of get a view of like her snappy personality to see like why she's acting the way she is. So with Tasha, I would have liked a little bit more to know like what's going on, like what is the connection between her and Dre, because it's not really clear like if this is her man or her dealer or her pimp or her, like I don't really know like what he is to her and why she's scared of him, but then like she can't, there's a lot there that I'm curious about, and you don't have to give everything, but I would need to know at least something to know what to expect from the story. Also, there's some things where this is also a hard thing to do sometimes, and I notice a lot of authors do it. It's like, when you have emotion, like you want to make your reader feel the emotion without telling them what it is. So like you don't want to say like such and such is happy. Like you want to tell like what that looks like, describe it so that the person reading can feel that and be like, oh, she's happy. Like, they want to figure out something for themselves. So that's, a lot of people call this like showing, not telling. So for example, it says like Tasha was scared, and then it just kind of left it at that. But like, like show us what fear feels like. So is her pulse racing? Like, she was gripping the wheel so tight that she was digging into the cheap leather. I saw that, but I think the focus when I read that was on the fact that it was cheap leather. So I was like, oh, is this supposed to give me an end to like her life more so than like her feeling, if that makes sense? Yeah, because would that be the last thing? Like I focus on that versus like dug in so much that her like, fingers hurt or ached or something like that. Then I would be like, whoa, she is scared or whatever. So yeah, so, kind of doing that where you describe the emotion rather than like say what it is. That creates more of an immersive like feeling for the scene. So you want to use body language, thoughts, physical reactions. Any of that is really helpful. So let's see. Also, like, I feel like I needed more about the scene. Like, I didn't know where she was. I did see there was a gas station. I guess it was night, I think. Dre standing out there with some guys and they're drinking outside the gas. Yeah, it just was a lot. Like, why is he drinking outside the gas station with these guys? Like, why is she scared of him? Like, what is he doing? And what does he have on her? Like, there's just a lot of questions I have. Yeah. I would have probably slowed down the scene a little bit too by adding like different creepy elements. Like if you're supposed to make, if I'm reading and I'm supposed to like feel creeped out by what's happening. Like, is it breezy outside? Is it is it cold? Does she have a chill? Like that kind of thing. Um, so yeah, the dialogue, like I said, is really good. I'm going back through it. Please bear with me. Um, yeah, the dialogue was good. I would have liked to see, sometimes you can create a lot of tension, like by showing, or you can create a feel that a character is intimidating without like saying he's intimidated or saying like the other person feels intimidated. Like by Dre was talking, like what was he doing while he was talking? Was he like squinting his eyes, or was he like, like, I don't know, doing this or like this? I don't know, like, like whatever it is, like was he doing this, gripping, certain things can make somebody feel more like calculated, like if they're like staring narrowed at you, or look like I did see smirk. I say smirk sometimes. I do think it's really overused. So even if you're saying someone's like smirking menacingly or something like that, like pairing it with something else, like something else that they're doing kind of helps. Like I know, I don't know what movie that is where the character is like, I don't know if he has a nervous tick or what, but he's like flicking a like lighter while he's talking. And even though it might be a nervous thing, it seems intimidating because he's like doing that. So like different things like that kind of add to the character and also adds to the like feel that you get from them. Um, so like also like Tasha, if she's scared, then she's probably nervous too. So like, is she tapping her foot? Is she like, picking her nails? Like stuff that people do that like they don't know they're giving away, certain things. Um, I do see that there's like it looks like it's like the kind of like the bad boy, um, who she can't let go of trope is what's happening. Like he's bad for her, but she can't get rid of him, or she can't let him go. He feels like home. So I do see that. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know where the author's going with it because I haven't looked into it yet. So I don't know if like what is it about Dre that makes her not be able to let go? Like is he, like I said, like is she on drugs and he's like supplying that? Is he, but obviously I don't think he's like, providing her with like a certain, like, I don't know, it has to be something there to where we get the connection between them. I did see where it says at the end that Dre felt like home. So, yeah, my first thought is like, why? Like, does he remind her of someone from her past? Is he like her first love and she can't, let it go? Why does he remind her of home? Is she used to the dysfunction because of how she grew up? Like, yeah, like, so that would be interesting. Just a little bit, like sometimes it only takes like a sentence that you throw in there to kind of give a lot of layers. Because if she did have that growing up and you just threw a sentence in there saying that like, her mom and dad used to fight, like, or something like that, then you not only know like what she grew up in and why she thinks the way that she does, but like why she might be attracted to this toxic man. I mean, even if it's like he's the only one that ever took care of her, no other man did, or if he was like, yeah, so something like that is good. Let's see. Yeah, something like, I'm sorry, I'm just thinking while I'm like looking at it. But yeah, like I probably would have put like, Dre had a way of making her feel like she belonged, even when she didn't. So then it's like, oh, okay, she's somebody who always feels like she's left out of spaces. Or maybe, she's talking about he makes her feel small. So maybe she's always felt small, and because of his presence, she vicariously through him feels powerful or something like that. Like, but anyways, I thought the writing was very engaging, very easy to follow. Some of the sentences I think could be tightened to improve like the pacing a little bit. Um, let's see. Like, I think that the part I think I was reading, let me see. There was like a part where it was like, Dre says, "Oh, so now you showing up?" And she was like, "I said I was coming." And like, she rolled her eyes. She said, "I said I was coming." Yeah, it was. I guess I would have liked to know, like, she was feeling one way, but then she was trying to play it off sassy. Like, what was that about? Yeah, basically, I just have questions, and that's it. And that's why I was saying it's all about like balance, because you can give. You don't want to give too much, but you want to give enough. It's almost like a movie trailer. Like, you don't want to see everything in the movie trailer, because then it's like, I already saw the movie. But you do want to give enough to what I feel like is like, you want to at least, at the very minimum, make sure that you tie your reader to the character in an emotional way. Like, make them know enough about your character that you have, or the characters that you introduce, to feel like they know them and want to know what's going on with them. So you don't have to give them like an end to your plot, because that's what they're going to read the book and find out about. But I want to know, like, what kind of person is Tasha? Do I like her? Do I see myself in her, or a friend or a family member in her? Like, do I care enough to know what happens to her based off of what I know about her? And then also with Dre, like, what feel do I get from him? Like, do I like him? Do I hate him? Do I feel like I know people like him? Like, you want to at least give that. So that's basically the only real critique I have, is like, yeah, and add some stuff to kind of, as far as character development, and then work on like the show not tell method of writing. Always, when you're introducing a scene, try to appeal to at least the majority of the senses. Talk about how something looks, the visual, auditory, and smell. So like, what do they see? What do they hear? What does it smell like? I did see something about cigars, and so that was good. But yeah, I think that definitely. And then I always like to do feel, like, is it cold, warm, hot, whatever it is. But yeah, all in all, I think that was awesome. I think they're very small things. Like, the writing was really, really good. Very small things that can be added. Like I said, some of that stuff can be done in one sentence, and it can make a huge difference. So that was our first writing critique. I have to say, I like I said, I definitely love where this author's going with the story. And I'm intrigued to see more. Hopefully it's done. If it's done, can you please send it to me? I love to read it when you publish it, or whatever you decide to do with it next. With a little like character development, deeper sensory details, just some tightening on the pacing. I think it would be like top tier, definitely. It's already top tier, it just needs minor things, especially if this is your first draft. Like, that's awesome. So now I want to hear from you all listening. What did you think of the first chapter? Would you keep reading? And if you have any other thoughts or advice to add from your perspective as a reader, please leave it in the comments. Even your perspective as an author, if any authors or people that write in any capacity are listening, please drop that in the comments. I'm sure the author would love to hear what you have to say. And again, if you're watching this live, like I said, I'll be responding to your comments below. So at least for the next few minutes or so, like, if you have anything, drop it and I'll respond. If it's after that and I'm no longer online, just send whatever it is that you like to say to my email, Portia@portiasterling.com. And if you want to submit your own work for review, send it to my email and I will check it out the next time. So until next time, keep writing, keep reading, never stop improving your craft. Bye.